Our first guest says he has just met the polling threshold as well. Let's go straight to the source. Miami's mayor and Republican presidential candidate Francis Suarez. Mayor, thank you for being here. You say that you have qualified to get on that debate stage on Wednesday night. The RNC, I should note, says that you have not yet qualified. Are you sure you're going to be there Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be there on Wednesday. We've been having conversations back and forth. They've never done this before. We've never done this before. And we are sort of crossing our T's and going through the process. For example, we've shown them that we've reached the donor threshold by having, I think, 42,000 or so donations. But understandably, they need to audit that. So there's a process for them to audit that. We've sent them just tonight a couple of polls, including one by Kaplan Strategies, where we're actually at 2%. Which would meet the national polls. They're certifying that as well. And so it's a process. We understand it's a process. We did sign the loyalty pledge, and we expect and hope that very, very shortly, in hopefully the next 24 or 48 hours, but certainly by Monday, we'll know for certain. We're planning on it. We booked hotel reservations. We're inviting people. We have a bunch of guests coming up from Miami. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity to introduce myself to the nation.
Okay, so you're confident
having an opportunity to do so right now.
And you're confident, Mayor, that the polling will be there, because we look at the RNC's requirements, and CNN's reporting on these polls is that you've hit 1% in one qualifying national poll, you've hit one qualifying state poll, but you need one more of each to get on that stage. Are you confident you're going to have those numbers?
We are. We sent them a poll from Kaplan Strategies tonight. That's a 2% poll. So we think that will qualify. They're in the process of certifying it. They go through and sort of scrape it to make sure that it meets all of their requirements. And then, there's other polls that have been already performed, including one that was not paid by another camp's campaign, but it's a poll that they've used that they're also considering certifying. And then we believe that there'll be more polls between now and Monday that will also certify it.
Okay, but you haven't actually gotten that number yet to where the RNC says, yes, you've made it.
Yeah, they have not yet given me sort of that final certification. And,
okay.
There's sort of a back and forth, like I said, and it's a process that neither we nor they have ever done before. So we're following it. We're diligent with them. They're being very responsive, and we're hopeful to have that sort of seal of approval certification very shortly.
Okay, so we'll see if you get that. You say you feel confident that you will. If you were on that debate stage on Wednesday night, the governor of your home state of Florida has been advised to defend Donald Trump if he gets attacked on Wednesday night. This is what former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie had to say about that.
If he thinks he's going to get on the stage to defend Donald Trump on Wednesday night, then he should do Donald Trump a favor and do our party a favor. Come back to Tallahassee, endorse Donald Trump, and get the hell out of the race.
What do you make of that? Do you agree that if DeSantis is defending Trump at the debate, that he shouldn't really be at the debate? He shouldn't be in this race?
Look, anyone who's going to be in the debate talking about another candidate shouldn't be in the debate. You should be focusing on your vision for America. And what we've seen from the governor's campaign in this leaked memo is his desire to attack certain people a certain number of times or compliment people a certain number of times. In fact, his spokesman, who has sort of an alter ego Twitter account, put out a false statement about my campaign and about my voting record. And it seems like they're not even reading their own Oppo research, which they've paid God knows how much money for, an $150 million campaign where they're hiring a ton of staff. They're not even reading their own Oppo research because in the first page of their own Oppo research, it shows that I voted for a Republican in 2016 and 2020, and yet they continue to say that. So they're a campaign that's struggling to tread water. But meanwhile, we're growing, right? We went from 1% to 2% in the latest national poll. So we're excited about the opportunity to really tell the country who we are, introduce ourselves, connect with the country, talk about my policies, but also let them, get them to know who I am as from a personality perspective, and also why I have the right profile to gain, an advantage in the contest in 2024 and get voters from the Hispanic community, get voters that are young voters that we lost by 26 points to Joe Biden, who's, I've said before, not the.
It sounds like, Mayor, that you don't think it is your job to defend Donald Trump on Wednesday night if he's attacked on that stage and he's not there.
No, I don't think it's anybody's job. I think the former president does a fine job defending himself, and he's going to do what he's going to do. Our job as candidates is to convince the American people that we are the right alternative. The American people have a choice. Right now, what it looks like, even though you see polls that say otherwise, is that we're going to have a repeat of the 2020 election if nothing changes. My job is to inspire people, to give them a hope for a positive tomorrow based on who I am, based on what I've accomplished, and based on my ability to demonstrate to them that I can win the election and govern the country. That's what we should be focusing on, not anyone else, to be honest.
And just to be clear, you've said those who don't make the stage should drop out. That means even if you're one of those people, right?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think,
Okay.
look, and it goes beyond just this one debate, right? I think, hopefully I'll make the debate. I feel very confident that I will. I feel confident that once given the opportunity to introduce myself to the country, I'm going to perform well, which will give me an opportunity to make the next debate stage and continue the
Mr.
conversation.
Mayor, we'll see.
One of the things that...
Well, let me just quickly get in here because you said that you have signed that loyalty pledge. You've already signed it, even though you're waiting on them to officially say that you can get in that race. You didn't vote for Trump in 2016. You didn't vote for him in 2020. So why, as a result of this pledge, would you endorse him in 2024?
Well, you're presupposing that he's going to be the nominee. I mean, you're not giving me any credit. You don't think I'm going to be the nominee? Just because I signed the loyalty pledge?
He's the front runner right now by
Look, I'm pledging,
a lot.
Well, it's okay. He wasn't the front runner at this time in the 2016 race in 2015. So, look, I think the beauty of this process is the voters decide who is the nominee. I've pledged to endorse a Republican nominee because that's one of the requirements, and I like to follow rules, and that's one of the rules. And I think that's the party has a right to set that rule, and we should follow that rule.
So if it is Donald Trump that is the nominee, and you're right, we don't know yet, anything could happen, but if it was tomorrow, it looks like it would be him. You are comfortable with endorsing him, even though you didn't vote for him in 2016 or 2020?
Look, if that's the case, if we're going to go down the hypothetical, and obviously I understand that the national press loves to talk about
it's a likely
the
hypothetical
person who may not be at the debate. Well, whether it's likely or not, it's a hypothetical, and we're talking about someone else's candidacy, not my own. But in that event, and part of the reason why I'm running for president is because I am deathly afraid of Joe Biden's America. Bidenomics is an economic theory where the poor are getting poorer through increased inflation, increased interest rates. It's a place where America is getting weaker on the world stage. I have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. I missed my children's first day of school for the first time to campaign for president. And I did that because partly because of my abilities and my feeling that I can connect with the American people. But the other part of it is my fear of what happens if Joe Biden is reelected. And that is a very palpable fear. He is not the same candidate that he was 4 years ago when he said he was going to be a moderate candidate. He was going to heal the country. He's done none of that. He's gone to the extreme left. And our country's more divided than it's ever been. And we need someone who's going to unify our country, heal our country, and provide opportunities that lean into a generational prosperity that we have in this future.
Right, and I understand, but obviously to get to Joe Biden, you would have to go through Donald Trump first, since he is the front runner. But let me ask you one last question, since we haven't spoken since
all the Republican nominees.
That is true. There are multiple of you running, and we'll see who all is on the stage on Wednesday night. Trump has been indicted in Georgia just on Monday. The last time I saw you, we were in Miami when Trump was being indicted there. In Georgia, it's for his efforts to overturn the election. Can you just say tonight, do you believe that the election in Georgia was fair and was legitimate?
I have not seen anything, any evidence that leads me to believe that it was not fair. I haven't delved into all the evidence, but I have no reason to believe that it's not. I do believe that the former president firmly believes that it was not fair. And I think that's part of the problem with some of these accusations, including particularly the federal one. But I'm not his lawyer. I don't have to defend him. He can defend himself. But I think he's been pretty consistent and adamant about that.
Well, he didn't get indicted just because he didn't think it wasn't fair, though. I mean, it was because he tried to overturn the results of the election. That's what the allegation.
No, let me be clear.
That's what
the federal indictment is all about. The federal indictment is all about what he knew, and the federal indictment will be about what the prosecutor can prove he knew or did not know. That's what the federal indictment's about.
Well, it's also about the scheme to have fake electors, to use the levers of the federal government to try to overturn the election. I mean, it's not just Donald Trump's mindset. That is obviously a part of it.
Yeah, that's a part of it. And I think the other part of it is he listened to attorneys that guided him in a particular direction, and whether or not that was criminal or not.
Do you believe that behavior was criminal?
listen, I'm not a judge and jury. I'm not the one putting him on trial. He's the one that's going to have to defend himself for the charges. I'm going to focus on running for president of the United States in the interim and hoping that I can connect with the American people in a way that they give me an opportunity to continue to tell my story so that I can become their president in November in 2024. So we don't have to talk about any of these things. I don't want to be talking about impeachments and indictments for presidents or former presidents anymore. I want to be talking about the plan for America's prosperity and future.
Mayor Francis Suarez, we will see if you are indeed on that debate stage Wednesday night. Thank you for joining us here on this Friday night.
Thanks for having me, Caitlin.